Hi friends, today we are making superhero pop-up cards. You can make your card for anyone who's a superhero in your life. I'm inspired by the art teacher Cassie Stevens. We've watched some of her videos in art class and she did this project with her students and I thought Bulldogs would love to do this cool pop-up. So this Sunday is Mother's Day. So if you want, you can make your superhero pop-up card for your mom. But you don't have to. Not everyone celebrates Mother's Day. Not everyone has a mom. So your card can be for anyone who's a superhero in your life. Anyone you want to say thank you to. So you could make your card for your grandma or your dad or your sister if she's been helping you out. Or maybe you could even make it for your teacher and send it to them. So it's anyone who's a superhero in your life. Last week we learned all about self-portraits. So we learned all about how to draw the facial features and hair and all those kind of details. But today when we draw the portrait for our superhero, it's going to be a lot more simple. So don't worry about all those details that we did last week. Today we're just going to do a basic portrait and that will help us make our superheroes for our pop-up cards. So let's grab our materials and we're gonna get started.
Alright friends, first I want to show you my cards a little bit closer. So for this one, I glued a piece of construction paper to the outside of my card, and when you open it up, you see the 3D cityscape. A cityscape is a landscape made in the city or with buildings, and I have my superhero flying over the top, and I have my message in the bottom. Now this card I made for my mom for Mother's Day, so I wrote her a Mother's Day message at the bottom, and on the front of my card I decorated it to say Happy Mother's Day, and I drew hearts and all sorts of blue and purple colors. Those are her favorite. And then the other card I made was for my grandma. So this one I didn't add an outside paper, but when I open it up, again, you see my cityscape, you see my grandma flying over the city. I added a little G on her cape for grandma, and I added my message here at the bottom, and I made my skies a little different in each picture. So it's totally up to you what you want yours to look like. Notice I didn't color in my buildings. What I did color in was my sky, my superheroes, and then the decorations around my message. So for this project, you are going to need 2 pieces of paper, a pencil and an eraser in case we make a mistake, scissors, and any kind of glue. I used a glue stick, but if you want to use Elmer's glue, that works fantastic too. And then anything you have at home to color with. So I love using markers and crayons, but really you can use anything that you have at home, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take my second piece of paper and put it to the side. And I'm going to take my first piece of paper and I'm going to fold it in half. Right now I have my paper vertical, so that means up and down. So I'm going to take the top of my paper and I'm going to fold it down to the bottom. I'm going to line up the edges as much as I can. And then I'm going to press it on the fold a couple times with my finger. And when I open it up, you'll see my top half and my bottom half. So the top half is going to be my sky, and the bottom half is where my message is going to go. Now you can be really creative. If you want, you can put a landscape at the bottom too, but I like it better when your message really stands out. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out how I want to decorate my sky. For the one, I made it daytime, so I added clouds, and then for the other one, I made it a night scene, so I added a moon and stars. For this one, I am going to do it during the day. So I think I'm going to start by taking my blue marker, and I'm going to sketch some clouds. Now, if you want to do this in pencil first, I think that's an amazing idea. I am not doing it in pencil first. I'm actually just going to do it with my marker because it saves time, but if you want to take that extra step and do pencil first, that is fantastic. Okay, so I have my clouds. Now I think I'll add a sun to this picture. So maybe I'll have my sun peeking out between these two clouds. So I'm going to have my yellow for the circle. And then I'll add some sun rays. And then it's peeking out from behind the clouds. Now I'll have to be careful when I'm using my blue to color the sky over my sun rays so that they don't turn green. Notice how my yellow marker overlapped with the blue a little bit right there and it turned green? That's okay. That's what happens when we mix colors, but it's still gonna look awesome. So now I'm gonna color the rest of the top with my crayons. So I think I'll start with my sun, and I'm gonna use my yellow crayon. I try to color really neatly, try to stay inside the lines, fill in all my white spaces. Now you'll notice it's really important that you keep the sky just on the top half of your paper. So it shouldn't cross this folded line, because when we cross this folded line, that's where our message goes and that's where our cityscape will go. So we're really just focusing on the top half of our paper. Okay, now I'm going to pick a shade of blue for my sky. I love this light blue color. So I'm going to draw next to that line just so I remember how far down to go. And I like to carefully go around my clouds first. I think it helps me be a lot more neat when I'm coloring. So I like to go around anything that's outlined first and then fill it in. Okay, now that I've gone around my clouds, now I'm going to fill in the rest of the sky. I have to be really careful to go around my sun's rays, like I said, so I don't cover those up and turn them green. So I'm going to kind of outline around them first and then fill in the space in between. You can do any kind of sky that you want. So if you know that your superhero loves nighttime, you might want to do a night scene. Okay, so I looked around for places I didn't fill in yet, but I think I got everything with my light blue. Now, I love to mix colors, so I'm going to take another shade of blue and I'm going to layer it on top a little bit, really lightly, because I think that will make my sky look even more special. So I'm going to take this other shade of this blue-green color, and I'm just going to make it a little darker at each corner. I'm just lightly taking this other color and layering it on top. I love mixing colors, so that's why I'm doing this. But really, you can be as creative as you want, and you can do anything you want for your sky. And don't forget, you can always pause this video if I'm going too fast. If I were you, I would probably watch the video once through first, and then watch it again as you're working on it. That way it will help you. Okay, added my blue around the corners. I like that. I think it makes the sun stand out even more. Okay, so before I do anything on the bottom, I want to make the part that actually pops up. So if you look behind the city, there's this part of the sky that's attached, and if you look at it from the side, you'll see that that middle part pops out. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. Take your paper and fold it in half again, and you are going to use 3 fingers to measure where to cut. So I'm going to line up my 3 fingers with the folded edge, not with the other end, with the folded edge. 3 fingers, and I'm going to make a little mark with my pencil. Then I'm going to do this again over here. So 3 fingers away from the folded edge, make a little mark. So now I know how far to cut with my scissors. So again, we're cutting on the folded side. I'm going to keep it folded while I cut, and we're going to use that mark as a guide to know where to stop cutting. So I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut and stop. So you're going to stop right when you get to that line. Let's do it again. cut, and stop. Okay, so now you have these 2 cuts in your paper. The first thing you want to do is take that middle section and fold it up. Just like that. So it's like a little door, okay? Now flip it upside down and fold it back the other direction, okay? Now we want to make sure that it pops up. So I'm going to open up my card. I'm going to push this middle part forward. There we go. And when I push it forward, I want to fold it closed when I fold my card. So now let's see if it works. When I open up my card, that middle part should be popped out. Yep, there we go. Okay, that's awesome. So we will eventually be gluing our cityscape onto that piece right there. Now it's time to decorate the bottom. So if you want, you can make the bottom part a landscape, maybe color it all green, or if you want, you can make a special spot for your message. I think that's what I'm going to do for mine. So for this card, I am going to make it for my husband Drew because he has been so supportive and he has just been such a big help to me, especially as I'm making these videos for you guys. So I'm going to make my superhero card for him. I already made one for my grandma and one for my mom. So I think this time I want to do something a little different. So his favorite color is blue. So I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to start by making a space where my message can go. So I'm going to make this kind of shape, kind of using a zigzag line to go around and make kind of like a spiky oval. Okay, so I have my spot where my message is going to go. Now I'm going to decorate all of this area around it, okay? You do not have to add any decorations to this right here because that is where we're going to glue our city. So now I'm going to pick colors and I'm going to figure out how to decorate this bottom part. Maybe I'll make a striped pattern with some different colors. So I'm going to start with green. And I'm going to make stripes that are coming out from around this space, all around. You can do anything you want for this bottom part. I mean, really, you can get really creative. Now, I'm going to save my message part for the end. So if you're making your card for your mom, you might want to keep that part secret for now and give it to her on Mother's Day. If you're around your superhero, you might want to wait to make your card in private so it can be a surprise when you give it to them. Otherwise, you can just do the message now. It's totally up to you. You'll notice that I turn my paper a lot when I'm coloring. I think it's just easier that way. Okay, now that I have this fun design with the green stripes, I think I might take another shade of green and add some more designs. I think that is so fun. I think he's gonna love that. Now I'm gonna save my message part for the end. So now you can put this paper to the side and take out your second piece of paper. Now this is where we're gonna draw our cityscape and our superheroes. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick what color buildings I want. Like I said, his favorite color is blue, so I think I might use a blue marker to draw the buildings. You can totally do pencil first, like I said, but I like to do marker because I think it just makes it a lot more colorful. Now your buildings don't have to be super tall, because if your buildings were the whole size of your paper, they would stick out of your card when you folded it. So I'm going to make my buildings all different sizes and I'm going to add all sorts of details. Like for this one, I did bricks here, I did these kind of windows, I did all different types of windows and all different types of decorations for my building. So I'm going to do that again now. Okay, so we're really using rectangles. Vertical lines, remember vertical means up and down, or horizontal lines, remember horizontal. My first graders remember those words. So I'm going to start with a vertical line for my first building, a horizontal line for the top, and another vertical line for the other side. Now I'm going to make my next one a little shorter, and I think I'll make it skinnier too. Maybe my next one is super tall. My next one, maybe I'll make this one a little shorty. Short and wide. I'll make the next one a little medium size. So see how I keep making vertical and horizontal and vertical lines for my buildings? You can get creative. If you want, you can add a fun roof like this roof right here. That'll just be an upside down V, or kind of like the top of a triangle. And I think I'll make this next one really tall. And I like to do the lines down the edge of my paper too, and across the bottom. I'm getting a little bit of blue marker on my table, but it is washable, so if you ever get any of your materials on your table or wherever on your desk, wherever you're working, just know that if you use a wet paper towel, it'll clean it right up. Now it's time to add details to my buildings. I can do all sorts of decorations. First graders, we just did this when we did our mixed project. Some of you made bookmarks, some of you made pictures, all sorts of buildings in it. So that can help you and inspire you for the different decorations you can do. I'm going to start by adding a door to each building because you need a way in. This one I'll do a double door. Maybe one I'll put to the side, put some in the middle. Okay. Now it's time to add windows and decorations. So follow along with me, and hopefully this will give you some ideas for what to do for your buildings. For this short building, I'm going to do bricks. If you don't know how to do bricks, you start with horizontal lines that go across, all the way across your building. We have to bump and jump across the door. Bump, jump, bump, jump. And now we alternate our vertical lines. So I start with the top line, skip a line. Next, skip. Next, skip. Next, skip. Next. Okay? So now for the next row over, I'm not going to start on the top. I'm going to start on the second. So see how I went from the first, third, fifth, seventh, and ninth? Now I'm going to do the even numbers. So second, fourth. Oh, my doors are blocking it. I don't even have to do any more. And there you have it. There are your bricks. Maybe I'll add a circle window to this one. Okay, now I'm all done with my buildings. If you want to color in your buildings with crayons or colored pencils, whatever you have, you totally can. But I love the way these white buildings stand out in my card. You can use shades of brown, black, gray, whatever you want. But like I said, I'm going to keep mine just plain white with the marker outline. Now, we're going to cut these buildings out, but I'm going to save the cutting until I'm done with my portrait. So now I'm going to take my marker. Again, you can totally do pencil first. And now I'm going to draw a miniature version of my husband Drew as a superhero. So I want to think about how he looks, and I want to make my portrait look just like him. So I'm going to do it on the top half of my paper. That way it doesn't overlap with my buildings at all. My superhero is going to be really little because it has to be able to fit on my card. So don't make it too big. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with an oval for his head. I'm going to add an ear on either side. And now I'm going to add the hair. I'm going to add the hair now because I think that'll be easier to line up the facial features. So my husband's hair is kind of like this. I'm going to fill it in with my marker. I don't know about you, but his hair is getting pretty long since we can't get haircuts. Okay, so there's his hair. Now I'm going to add 2 eyes, eyebrows, simple nose, and maybe I'll use a red marker for his mouth. I want him to be smiling. There we go. Kind of looks like he has lipstick on, but it's just because I used the red marker. Okay, so now I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to add his facial hair. He has a beard like this. It looks a little scary, but I think he's going to love it when he sees it. Okay, so after you have his the whole head done, whether you're drawing your mom or your teacher, your sister, whoever, after you have the whole head done, now you're going to draw the cape. So we're going to draw 2 diagonal lines coming from the head. So the top one is going to be a diagonal line up. This one will be a diagonal line going down. And then attach them together with a wavy line. So it looks like the cape is blowing in the wind. Now I want him to look like he's Superman and he's flying across the city. So I'm going to draw one arm here and another one here. Okay, so watch how I do that. I'm going to draw one coming from the side of his head like this. So it's kind of like a long letter U. Okay, and now I'm going to do his other arm. And that one's going to be a little lower and it's going to attach to his cape. I'm keeping the arms so simple, you don't even have to draw details in the hands. So I'll draw a line for where his sleeve is. And now I need to draw his legs. So to draw the leg, you're going to start kind of where the armpit is. And you're going to draw a diagonal line, then a U shape. Make that U a little bit longer, and then attach it to the cape. So now it looks like his leg and his shoe. Now his other leg is going to be up here. So let's start with a little line coming from the cape. Another U. Make it a little longer. And then attach it to the cape with a horizontal line. I'm going to add some lines for the bottom of his pants so you can see where his shoes are. Now I am going to color him. I'm going to use my crayons to color him in. And I want to think about what color skin he has first. So he gets pretty tan in the summertime because he's Italian. So I think I'm going to use this color for the head. And I'm going to use it for the hands too. Alright, now I can use any colors I want for the arms, the legs, the shoes, and the cape. I think for the arms, it will look really good if I used the color red. I think that would really stand out for my card. So I'm going to do red sleeves. So he's wearing a red shirt. Maybe I'll pretend he's wearing jeans. I'll use a dark blue to color in his legs. I think I might give him some gray shoes because his gray tennis shoes are his favorite. Think about what colors your superhero loves. For my mom's, I made hers all shades of green because her favorite color is green. For my grandma is Italian, so I picked red, white, and green because those are the colors of the Italian flag. So I gave her a red shirt, a green and white striped cape, and I did the colors down here in Italian colors too because I knew my grandma would love those. So now I can do the cape. I think I might add the letter D on his cape because his name is Drew. So he can be Super Drew. Do you like that? And then I think I'm going to color it in this goldenrod color. That's going to look awesome. You can add any kind of decorations you want to the cape. If you want to add like some stripes, you totally can. This is your card for your superhero, so you can do whatever you want. Now it's time to cut it all out because we have to glue it onto our card. So the next thing you're going to do is grab your scissors. I'm using big girl scissors. You can use any scissors that you have at home. The first thing I'm going to cut out are my buildings. So I am going to line my scissors up with the top of my building, and then I'm going to turn my scissors and my paper to cut again. That's called pivot. So you turn the scissors, turn the paper so that you can cut the whole thing out. Be really careful when you're doing this because you don't want to accidentally cut off any of your buildings. If you do, no big deal. You can always tape it or glue it back together. And now I have my cityscape all cut out. I'm going to put that to the side for now. And now I'm going to cut out my superhero. Now this one's going to be a little trickier because there's lots of tiny details. So take your time, go slow, and carefully cut around all of your details. If you leave a little bit of white space, it's okay. Your superhero is going to know that you tried your best on your card. Remember, friends, that's what's most important. It's not about how it looks. It's about how hard you tried. So if you worked really, really hard, that's what's most important. It's all about growing and working hard and doing your best. In retrospect, I think I made his head a little bit too big. He kind of looks like a bobblehead. But that's okay. He's still gonna love it. Okay, I like to kind of cut around both arms first, and then it'll be a little easier to go in between and cut in between both arms. There we go. And now I have my superhero all cut out. Now it's time to put everything together. So I want to throw away or recycle that paper. I could use it again. Here I have my card. So now it's time for the glue. I'm going to use a glue stick because that's all I have at my house. But if you have liquid glue, that works perfect too. The first thing that we're going to glue is our city onto our picture. The only place you're putting glue is this part right here. See that white rectangle that I left blank? That's the only thing I'm going to put glue on. So you can see that's where my city is going to be attached. I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to go all around, fill it in. I have to work pretty quick because the glue dries fast. Now I'm going to take my city. I'm going to line it up on the bottom of that rectangle. Make sure it lines up on both sides. And I'm going to press down. I'm going to rub it to make sure the glue sticks. Remember, we like to count in our heads to 10. You don't have to do it out loud. Let's see if it works. You might have to push it forward a little bit. But there you go. So you can see when you open the card, voila, there is your city and it's popping up. How fun. Now we have to glue our superhero into our picture anywhere you want. So think about where the best place for your superhero would be. I kind of like him right here, like he's about to fly over the whole city. Think about where you want your superhero, and that's the only place you're going to put glue. So if I'm putting him right here, move him out of the way, use my finger to show where the glue's going. Make sure you're only putting glue on the buildings and not on the sky. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right there because I know that's where he's going to go. And I'm going to put him on top. I'm going to hold it for 10 seconds, counting in my head. And now let's see it all together. I'm going to close it, open it back up. And there he is. He is flying over the city. Okay, a few things. First of all, you might notice when I close it, the buildings and his head stick out of the card. That's totally fine. If yours stick out, It's all good. It's still gonna look really, really, really cool. And I'll show you an option that you have to cover up all of this empty space, but you don't have to do it. Now it's time to write your message. So you can see what my messages were for my other cards too. Okay, I wrote my mom a message and my grandma a message. And don't be afraid to add more details into your message area. Like I added hearts for my mom because I made mine for Mother's Day, and I added some light green dots. You can do it any way you want. Now, you can totally be done with your card just like this. This is all done. However, if you want to take it to the next level, and if you want to make this cover for the front and back of your card so you don't see the pop-out part, I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to want to grab a piece of construction paper that's at least the same size as your piece of paper or a little bit bigger, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is take my piece of construction paper and I'm going to fold it in half just like I did with my drawing. And press on the fold. Now if you have scrapbook paper at home or patterned paper, that would be so perfect for this. But really you can use anything that you have. Now the trick to doing this is only gluing one half at a time. I like to start with the bottom half. So I'm going to take my glue stick, only have the glue peeking out a teeny tiny bit, and I'm going to put glue all over the bottom half of my card. I'm going to make sure my card is folded in half. I'm going to line it up the best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to rub it so that it's attaching with glue to my construction paper. Okay, so right now it looks like this. The bottom half is glued, but the top half is not. Now it's time to glue the top half. That way I know it will fit. Okay, I'm going to put glue all over. I think I might save an empty space right here since there's no white paper there. Put glue all over the top. Now the key to making sure this works is taking the top half, folding it down, and holding it and rubbing it. Again, you can still see my buildings and even the top of Drew's head peeking out under the card, but when you open it up, that's really when you're going to see that magical surprise. So now you can decorate the front of your card any way you want. If you want to use markers, you can. And I'm going to add all sorts of decorations, okay? So boys and girls, that is this week's art project. You are going to make a superhero pop-up card for anyone who's a superhero in your life. Remember, you are going to email me your finished cards to aseacrest@ofcs.net. If you make a mistake or if you're having trouble with anything, don't forget to ask me questions in our Google Hangout or email me. I would be happy to help you. I have to say, it has truly made my day when I see all of the artwork that you're making while you're at home. It makes me so, so happy. So please continue to email me. Now, if you're making this for your mom for Mother's Day and you want to save it until Mother's Day to give it to her, that's totally fine. You can wait to send it to me, okay? So if you want to give it to her for Mother's Day, give it to her on Sunday, and then she can take a picture of your card when you give it to her, and then you can email it to me whenever you want, okay? Boys and girls, I had so much fun making this card with you today. I hope you had a lot of fun making it. So please email me if you have any questions. I miss you guys so, so much. Please have so much fun. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and be creative. I hope you guys have an awesome day. See ya!